Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our second edition of the Cabral Concept. I am excited to be here with you, and that is recording this live from my hotel here in Northern California. I'm here for just a couple of days, but as I always say, the show always goes on, and I have a couple interviews out here on various podcasts. Love being able to connect with the health and the wellness and the fitness-based community in California, and so I'm out here probably every 2 to 3 months. And as I said, I still want to be able to get to all of our community's questions. So I apologize if the video is not, the quality is not where it usually is if you're watching this on YouTube or my website, or if the audio isn't up to par, again, as we usually have it. My apologies, but again, I feel it's more important to be able to get you this information and hopefully that the audio quality and the video are good enough for today. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be back, normal equipment. So let's dive into the show. You know, on the weekends, I love being able to answer our community's questions. Typically, we're around 12 weeks or so behind from questions in to questions answered. Looks like we're down about 10 weeks now, so that's always a good thing. You don't have to wait as long to get your question answered live on the show. And the last thing I always want to share with you is that every single day, the amazing Equalife team, headed up by Michelle. Michelle does a great job overseeing everybody in all of our social media. She just does such a fantastic job. So if you see Michelle Blake on our Facebook group, in any of our groups, make sure that you tell her that you thank her, you appreciate her, because honestly, she's in there every single day answering hundreds of questions and sharing with people what podcasts they may be looking for and so much. So again, we appreciate her. We appreciate Daniel as well. Daniel Turk does an amazing job of handling my social media and groups and all sorts of things. So just again, a great team. Wanted to give them a shout out today. Much appreciate you. Okay, let's get right into the questions. Zach is up first. Zach is saying, hi, Dr. Cabral. I was officially diagnosed with Tourette syndrome at age 20, but I've had it, if I recall correctly, probably since I was 6 years old. If there's one thing I've learned about Tourette syndrome, it's that we don't know much about it, but I'm a firm believer that the foods we eat can change our chemistry for the better. I talked to some friends who have Tourette syndrome and believe in a more holistic approach to medicine as well. They made me aware that red 40 dye is a major trigger of their tics, and this was common amongst the TS community. In your experience, are there any foods that might increase severity of tics and that I should avoid? Is there a lab test you would recommend for sorting out how to best live with this neurological disorder in a way that doesn't involve pills? Yeah, I'm happy to help on this, and I've written about red dyes before. Let me see if I can find the podcast for you, because this is really important, not just for the Tourette syndrome community, but the ASD community. So autism, Asperger's, executive functioning disorder, so many. I mean, ADHD, ADD is all part of this as well. Let me see if I could find Allura. That's it. Okay, so the name that they are using, so this is really important, Zach, is that people are catching on that they don't want paint in their food, right? And that's really what red 40 and the yellows and all those things are. So I did a podcast on this, peeling back their evil web. And there are two. One begins with a T, one begins with an A. I know one is Allura, and it's on food sensitivities, food dyes, episode 25, 27, and 2023. Those are the episodes. And let's just check it out. I see if I can get you the exact one. I know it's there. All right. Well, check those out because you'll be able to get all the information on that. Allura Red AC. Yeah, that's the other one. And I know that there's another one. Let's just see if it's on 2023. Do a little research for you. And yes, there it is with a T. Tartrazine. I saw it, but I didn't want to say it. Tartrazine is yellow 5. And then you've got the red dyes making up the Allura. So definitely want to stay away from those. All right. Others that you should stay away from or any artificial sweeteners. So, may not affect everybody, but I can tell you this, that NutraSweet and aspartame and anything that excites the nervous system that basically has a lot of glutamate can be an issue. So along the same topic, please go to stephencabral.com/podcast. Check out my podcast on glutamate. Really, really important. And then find out, I'll look at my podcast on the ADD and ADHD restless mind diet. Because again, these are all connected, all right? So this is, when we look at the greater scheme of things, we're looking at a gut-brain-based issue. So we need to run the, it's called the gut bundle. It's the bacterium parasite stool test, the candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the food sensitivity test. And so those are essential in my opinion. And then I would run the omega-3 inflammation test if possible. And then there's one more I really recommend, and I don't talk about it often, but it's the mind and mood neurotransmitter test. These are all at stephencabral.com/labs or stephencabral.com/shop. You'd find them in both places. But the neurotransmitter one is really important for any child and adult suffering from, I want to call it more neurological than anything else, but I know it's gut related and I know it's brain related, but they are communicating through the nervous system. And so I think this is really important. There's so much to go deep on this because, again, even if it's a glutamate issue, you could say, okay, well, I'm just not going to eat high glutamate foods. Yes, you could do that. I understand. But then if like you're healing your gut, you need glutamine, and glutamine's converting to glutamate or glutamic acid to be getting rid out of the body. But also then you're not producing enough GABA. So then you need the cofactors. And so I did a whole show on the cofactors like B6 and magnesium. So definitely check that out. So watch for the heavy metals, watch for all these fake foods, basically the food dyes and the fake sweeteners, and then begin to work on healing the gut and looking at those neurotransmitters, right? So 100%, that's what we do. I mean, we do this in my practice all the time. So I'm giving you exactly what we do. I never hold back. I just want you to know that, like, I give you exactly what we do. All right. Let's see. Renata is up next, or Renata. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm wondering if you can help me. My son is 5, and since September of 2021, he keeps getting coughs every 4 to 5 weeks. It starts off as spasmodic and then gradually becomes looser. The coughs eased off in May and then started up again in October. I'm wondering if it could be allergy related. That's interesting. Okay. He was on antibiotics at birth for 24 hours, but breastfed exclusively for 7 months. He suffered from reflux and had a lot of digestive discomfort. Once he was on ion, the digestive problems seemed to resolve. However, I'm wondering, is this now manifesting through the respiratory system? I live in Ireland, so testing is not great here. Thank you. Okay. So, like I always recommend lab testing, and that's because I hate guessing, right? I like to just test and be like, okay, this is what it is. So let's think about this. Let's think about that he might have some bacterial overgrowth, he might have some yeast overgrowth. I mean, could have parasites, right? So it's like, I would really love you to be able to get that bacterium parasite stool test, but I'm not sure that you can. But if you can run one, you'd run that. Like, for sure, that's what I'm running for a child with this particular issue. If it's only one thing, I'm running that. The second thing I would run is the starter kit, for sure. So I don't know if we ship to Ireland. It's a great question. Actually, we ship to 27 countries. I should know that, but I just don't remember. Not at the top of my head. So you can always email support@equa.life and they can help you out. So, okay. So let's say you never test. All right. Well, what we could do is just go through the protocols. We could do the Parasupport protocol, and then we could do the children's CBO protocol. So, we can't do that because this very well could be digestive based, then affecting the immune system. So we just have to keep in mind that silent reflux, which your son could have, or postnasal drip, leaking, basically dripping down in the lungs, could continue to cause this chronic cough. So that's certainly a possibility. Could it be postnasal drip from environmental allergies? Yes, but even environmental allergies have somewhat of a stem coming from the gut because the immune system is imbalanced. Usually, kids are more Th2 dominant when they have more environmental-based allergies, even food sensitivities. So that's worth looking into. It really is. And if not, then we just work on the gut with those protocols, the Parasupport and this children's CBO. So the Parasupport protocol would be toned down for children. Again, we can help you with all this. So, or an integrative health practitioner level 2 can also help you with this too. And we probably have one in Ireland. And so you're welcome to go to integrativehealthpractitioner.org and connect with them as well. All right. So that's that. And yes, the reflux, I mean, all of this kind of makes sense. And that's why if we can run the bacterium parasite stool test, we can look for H. pylori, we can look for parasites, we can look for bacterial overgrowth. So I definitely recommend that. There's got to be a place over there, even if Equilife isn't able to ship you one. Okay, so then the other interesting part is that it eases off in May, and then it comes back in October. Okay, strange, like, because April, May, and definitely for Ireland as well, could be like more peak spring season. And typically then there's more pollen. And then fall, leaves falling, yeah, that's like September, October. I mean, it can be, it could even be mold. Yeah, I didn't think about that until right now. It could be mold as well. Ireland, like the UK, like the New England area in the United States, very high in mold. This could be mold as well. So there's a test called the mycotoxins test. Yeah, I mean, if they ship, I mean, again, you do your best, right? You do everything that you can. I still recommend the same thing. Again, if you're not testing, Parasupport protocol, CBO protocol, and then, I mean, hopefully things are good. But then if not, we're doing the mold protocol, and we have to change that, though, base it for children as well. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, there can certainly be an environmental piece to it, but yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, because that's when mold's higher in spring and fall. Okay, yes, thank you for writing in, and I hope that that's helpful. Julie is up next. Hello, been losing mass amount of hair since the end of 2020. DHEA sulfate has been high for a very long time. Have stabilized testosterone numbers since, currently suffering from high cortisol and low B vitamins and low ferritin despite supplementing with iron. Additionally, copper levels are very high despite supplementing higher amounts of zinc. Recently did a heavy metal detox, copper slightly lowered, but not much. CRP marker was at an 8 and has since changed to a 2. Any tests I should run? How can I get my hair back to normal? Okay, so there's good news. Well, there's good news and bad news, okay? Because let's be honest. Hair takes a good 3 to 6 months in order to change there's 3 different cycles with your hair back to a growth-based phase. I have so many podcasts on regrowing your hair. I probably should do a whole category on it now because people keep asking lots of questions, and so I'm happy to help. So I've done really all the research that you can do on hair, because if there was more, I would do more research, because I find it very fascinating and interesting, and it's a puzzle to solve. And all of that, like all the information I have, except for the microderma rolling, which I just did a podcast on maybe like a month ago, so we'll try to add that, is at stephencabral.com/hair-loss. Let's make sure that that's the actual page for you. stephencabral.com/hair-loss. No, that's not it. That's because I didn't spell it right. stephencabral.com/hair. Got to spell hair right. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, everything is there. And so some of the issues you already named. When you have higher levels of stress, high cortisol, you can lose hair that way. When you have higher levels of testosterone, it can convert to DHT. You can lose hair that way. When you have lower levels of iron or B vitamins or higher levels of inflammation, you can lose hair. So what we're really doing is working off of a lot of the labs you have, and we need to normalize those labs. So the nice thing is this. You don't necessarily have to think about just regrowing the hair, although I have so many tips on that page, so please do check it out for both men and women. There's 7 main things that you can do. I put them all in there. I name all the different companies that I've used. I share my story because I'm very open about my own health and as well. And yeah, that's that. So everything is there. stephencabral.com/hair-loss. For additional lab tests, the stress, mood, and metabolism is the number 1 that you could run right now, because if you don't know your thyroid, if you don't know your vitamin D, if you don't know your glucose levels, and then if you haven't rechecked your cortisol, testosterone, all that, that's the most important. So you want to run that one for sure. If you do nothing else, that's the one to start with, all right? And then everything else is on that page, I promise you. Okay. And then I have podcasts on if your iron levels are still low despite supplementing, what to do. And then I talk about the cofactors of low iron. And if you ever can't find these shows, again, stephencabral.com/podcast. If you ever can't find them, just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll find them for you. Rupa is up next. Hello, my dad is 78 years old. He is healthy and active, but he can't get his hemoglobin A1C level down from 6.2, and his fasting blood glucose is 108. He is a vegetarian and walks every day and practices intermittent fasting each day at least 13 to 14 hours. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, this is a great question. So, we start to look at things like, has this been like a slow uptick in hemoglobin A1C over the past decade? Has it gone from like normal of 5.4, or of course lower if you can get it lower, then to like 5.6, okay, starting to get in the danger zone there, 5.8, okay, now we're in the danger zone. And if we creep up to 6.4, then, that's considered diabetes. So like, is it this weakening of the cells listening to insulin, or is it a weakening of the pancreas not producing enough insulin? These are all interesting things to look at. And so I like to look at all of them. Of course, we want to really factor in all of the things that could affect blood glucose. And I think it's important to look at some, and I'll do a whole podcast on this. So let me do a whole show on this as well. But one big thing that I've seen in my practice is that when people get older, and I'm not talking about like they start to get older and they are not focusing as much on all of the different self-care that they should. And this is a blanket statement, so please nobody take offense. But what I've seen is like late 60s, early 70s, is that people are just not focused. In my practice, again, this is different based on the individual. So I just want to share that. I have a lot of clients that are in their early 80s, and they are in it to win it, focusing on their protein, focusing on their exercise, focusing on all these different things. And one thing, though, that a lot of people don't is hydration. And this is not just me. This is conventional medicine in general. One of the biggest things that they state is that when people get older, they stop drinking as much water and they become dehydrated. So I just wonder, even though your dad's following this vegan-based diet, well, one is I don't know if it's processed food vegan diet, because that's an issue, right? So if it's mainly like processed grains, et cetera, not talking about vegetables, that can be an issue. Is he getting enough protein? So I talk about not overdoing protein. It's true, for like a 30-year span, from like 30 to 60. Once you get over like 60, 65, protein requirements actually go up a bit. And they go up a bit because your body becomes more catabolic. You need to stabilize blood sugar. You need to maintain good, healthy, basically animalism in the body. So, okay, so that's what I want to do. I want to look at protein with meals. I want to look at fiber with meals. I have a whole podcast on that, right? Those are the two most important nutrients for a meal, just for stabilizing everything, hormones, et cetera. Okay, then I will look at dehydration. Basically, most humans need about half their body weight in ounces of water per day. Is your dad getting that? Maybe, maybe not. And I think that a lot of people, they just kind of forget to drink, right? So that's a big one. I'm assuming that your dad's not using any artificial sweeteners or things like that. The fasting glucose is elevated, so I'm not even going to have the coffee discussion right now or caffeine discussion. And the last one I would just say is he on medications that could raise glucose? And I think that that's important to look at as well, because there are a handful of medications, or I should say medication classes, there's more than a handful, that would actually raise blood sugar. Some of those being antidepressants, antipsychotics. And so I think it's important to look at that. A lot of doctors don't tell you about that can raise blood sugar, but it's really important. And so let's leave it at that. So let's check in on those things. I'll do a whole show on non-conventional reasons why people have elevated glucose. And then again, just make sure he's getting all of his vitamins and minerals on a daily basis, like chromium and zinc, et cetera, that would actually help to regulate blood sugar in the first place. So easy. One thing that takes care of this for most people in general, you're doing a smoothie in the morning, 2 scoops of daily nutritional support. You can just put in 20 ounces of water, whatever you'd like to do, 16 ounces of water, put in a little bit of wild blueberries or wild berries in general, make yourself a nice little smoothie, hydration, vitamins, minerals, detox cofactors, et cetera. So that's what most people in our community do. Again, you can find that at stevencabral.com/DNS. And that'll take you right over there. All right, it's pretty inexpensive as well for what it is. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this show live here from sunny Northern California. I appreciate you. I thank you. I'll be back tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.